Hey, what is up guys, Massive here, back to do another video, and today I've got a game on a map that's seldom seen nowadays. Really, it's an old version of Tournament Highlands, Badlands. This was the OG version of this layout, and it is a little bit different. It's a bit smaller, the dimensions of the map are a little bit smaller, so it's not entirely the same, and this is going to be a pretty interesting game. Why did I say that? Well, we're going to be opening up here with something that is pretty rare, to be honest. And I think it might work a little bit better on this map because, again, it's a smaller map. I'm going to go for 4 engineers. And I'm upgrading the cybernetic leg upgrade. For all of you who've been watching my videos the past year, you would have seen this build before. And it can catch your opponents by surprise, can catch them off guard. But you've got to be extra cautious that you don't lose those saboteurs. Even when they have the cybernetic legs and move super fast, they can still die if you aren't microing them. A little bit riskier against GDIs and nods because they have ranged units. Scrins, buzzers can be dodged, however, because the engineers move faster than them, so you don't really lose them to buzzers, which is kind of cool. Sadly for me though, I did lose one of them. That was poor attention by me. I'm going to be so behind as a result of this, and I can spare no time. I'm going to have to go for that spike, the one in the corner, because if I decide to take the one that's next to the blue tip field, he's going to have an APC already to prevent my 4th engineer from taking the one that's closest to his base, and I'm going to take it over. But firstly, I want to use the booby trap, and I don't have to fear about my engineers getting shot through buildings. That was a huge bug fix that I implemented about 2 years ago. Absolutely huge. It's been forgotten of at this point because the bug never happened. But before, you'd see engineers literally die through any structure in the game when you're trying to capture. I was really tilted at that in the past. So yeah, we're going for shadow teams once again. I thought I had my cat for a moment. I'm not sure if that's caught on mic, but yeah, 2 shadow teams in this base. I'm going to try and see if I can kill this power plant. I'm a little bit behind here, so I need to make use of these while I recover. I went for a refinery after a refinery, which is very unorthodox. Usually you go for a war factory before a second ref, but I feel like getting that second harvester out will speed up my economy a little bit more. But it is going to make my 3rd one come out slower, since I technically don't have a war factory. And here I'm hoping to retreat from this MRT. It's not got a machine gun on it, it's just a repair MRT, so it's going to be able to easily kill, well, not so easily kill that, but he does end up killing that shadow team squad. And if he goes for that tip spike, he's going to not be able to get it, he's going to destroy it. It's still worth it though for him to capture, since it denied me that tip spike. If you can't capture it, then you might as well destroy it. I'm going to deny him that income. Currently I've got 4 Tiberium spikes, which is pretty darn good. I'm going to be bringing in 40 credits a second, multiplied by 60, that's $2,400 per minute. That's an advantage that Senna can't let persist in this game. So you can reduce it down to just a 3, and I am now anticipating him to go for that 3rd spike. I think he's going to make a push for the 3rd spike and commit some forces to getting it, so I'm going to build a second war factory, but I'm actually a lot further behind than you guys see from my point of view here. I'm very much behind because he's got set up right now his expansion with a refinery, and I haven't really got anything at my expansion. I've delayed because I went for this second war factory and because I went for the shadow teams, which got cleaned up. I didn't really force him to overspend at all. He went for 1 APC and 1 Pipple, and I see your horses just commenting at me. If it sounds like I'm being distracted, it's because your horse is sending me messages in Discord right now. I should probably put that on mute or busy mode when I'm casting. I was for a moment thinking, is this Awakens are going to be able to take out this engineer? Because engineers do have really good damage with that pistol. Got the bikes on hold fire so they don't waste their shots on those watchtowers. See if I can split them off, but 4 bikes is not going to be able to really do much. I'll kill 1 harvester if I'm lucky and lose all 4, so I'll keep them all together. It's not worth it. MRT is very hard to take out. I was able to destroy that one there, but at the cost of 2 of my bikes. I can't afford to be cost ineffective. I need to try and get some massive EMPs on those pit bulls to leverage this bike buggy speed that I have. I just can't really get across the map because he's got those pits. He's controlling the map with pit bulls and MRTs. I'm not sure if he deliberately built MRTs to combine with pit bulls, but it's so annoying having to deal with those MRTs mixed in because they're going to be giving these units repairs. You don't really see players build MRTs for the purpose of meat shielding. I sometimes do against R20 when I'm building Mass Wolverine, but it's so good. He's capturing my spikes over now, so I'm actually soon going to be really behind in terms of eco. He's taking the blue Tiberium as well in the south. I get 1 EMP there, but I just don't have the DPS. These buggies are great for tanking damage, but when it comes to DPS, they just don't have it. They just don't quite have it. I'm doing my best to try and recover my economy, but things are looking really dire right now. If only I had a tip vein, so I can tip vein those pit bulls. But even nowadays, in 1.02 plus, tip vein is not a guarantee. Units can dodge it. I'm getting desperate. I'm building Scorpion tanks, which is never a good sign as Matt to Kane, because you don't get a laser capacitor upgrade. Dozer blades is all you get with those. So the later this game goes, the worse off these tanks are going to be. And remember, I'm against steel Talons, and they're going to have railguns. But I do get a massive EMP. That was an EMP. It wasn't the EMP I was really talking about at the start, but it's a start. Heroic rifle inside the MRT certainly paid off. That was so annoying. I'm not sure what it killed to become heroic. Maybe a Scorpion tank. Maybe the rifle squad got lucky. I'd have to rewind that. Oh, it must have been the MRT with the shadow teams that it killed the shadow teams earlier on. I have no doubt it was that one. I'm going for the saboteurs, because remember those saboteurs have the cybernetic legs, so I can quickly take back those tip spikes whenever I want. Besides tip spikes, there's no neutral structures on this map. I can try and sneak one to his base, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get there. Now I've got this map, finally I've been allowed to get across the map, but whilst that has been going on, Senna has been allowed to produce a huge army, and he has no doubt harvested a lot more compared to me. These Raider buggies are going to be able to stop the hammerheads from freely killing the Enlightened. That's why I've mixed them in. That's really the only reason why you're seeing mass buggy here, because if I don't build them, then of course hammerheads will kill me. Something to note here is the reverse move. It makes units such as buggies lose collision. So if you use the reverse move, they can all bunch up together and take splash damage. Whereas just moving them regularly, they have collision and they don't do that. Something to bear in mind, because you can take unnecessary damage if you're not careful with that. But I'm going to be hit here by these pit bulls, by these Wolverines. Such a back and forth game so far. I focused down that hammerhead. I don't really have those OP knob mines, but I do have the magnetic ones. Not sure if he's got an MRT to heal those ones up, but he's going to be taking damage if not. I think he's actually got MRTs mixed in, which is insane. Yeah, he's still building MRTs. He's got literally everything here, as well as hammerheads. AP ammo is done. And stealth tanks were about the worst unit I could have built to hold this up. I try and blanket these units with the Marked of Kane and Awakened EMPs. Obelisk comes down and I'm about to lose. There's nothing really left for me. He's Q-moving into my base. I get an EMP down on those times before they were going to crush all my units. Hammerheads. I will just have enough AA to deal with that. but I've got nothing left. Like, I've got 2 avatars and an obelisk. Actually, I might be able to clean this up. Supercharged particle beams has been finished. Would have been nice if I had it at the start of this engagement. Those hammerheads are just getting free shots on those awakened. The repairs from the war factory won't be enough to save those awakened enlightened squads. And I'm going to hold that off. Somehow I hold this off. The game is not over, because I still have less than half a TIV field to go. Bad news for me though is that whilst he's been attacking me, he has established himself in the middle of the map. Now that was a really heavy tier 1 push, so I have to push now as hard as I can. I can't let him secure this middle of the map. I'm going for a TIB chemical plant to try and limit this TIB advantage that he has. I can also use the Tiberium Vein Detonation. A nice amount of splash damage dealt on those hammerheads. I was able to kill 1 or 2. Don't need those obelisks anymore. I could sell them to get a quick 4 grand if I want. I decide to clip one of his refs. I mean, it's not so bad if he's just got the 1 ref there. And I'm now queuing avatars, but if he goes for behemoths, those avatars are toast. Double A turret, not going to be too helpful against those rifle squads. He does kill the husk, I think, with those squads. So he's just not letting me build up anything. I've got 3 avatars and a stealth tank. That's all I have. The game is still looking extremely dire, and I'm now starting to run dry out of Tiberium. I'm building TIB troopers from my hand of Nod just to deal with these infantry forces. It's a pretty good unit here because I can also slow down the Titans. Those Titans, when slowed down, will allow my Enlightened to EMP them a lot easier. He's not being allowed to go back to the defenses of his base. Those watchtowers will prevent me from freely EMPing him. And I've got 5 avatars. And if I come across behemoths at this point, I can just EMP them with the Enlighten. But he's going for hammerheads once more. I've got a stealth tank. I was kind of anticipating this because Steel Talons doesn't have sniper teams. I don't have the quad turrets, but you can upgrade that in this because it does not desync the game. And this wall of avatars are doing what they can to hold off the brunt of this Steel Talons player. There's a lot of Titans still. He's aiming down my units. He's got more eco than me, more macro. He's got 2 war factories. He's queuing rocket squads. He's queuing Titans. He's queuing hammerheads. He's throwing everything at me. I have just 3 avatars left. I'm going to probably sell all my base off now just to get resources. If I'm allowed to capture some of these husks, then maybe there's a way. I've got Enlightened, a Voice of Kane, so that's going to be able to buff those Enlightened substantially. A 50% increase on those Enlightened squads. Rate of fire will be the result of that Voice of Kane there. Does make them a little more tanky against enemy AP ammo. And these avatars are going to slowly work on those watchtowers so my infantry can push in. Stealth tank's still alive. It did take out that hammerhead. I'm still at this base. What I could consider here is a secret shrine. That's pretty cheap for Master Kane at just $500. And I've got Enlightened spawning from the first barracks I made in the game, which is in my first base. That's why you're seeing them come from the bottom, from the south. The rally point, the pathing is a bit weird. Yeah, I decided to sell that one there since it was just not in the most of ideal positions. Bikes I'm queuing to deal with the hammerheads because they can pretty much almost one-shot them. But I felt like with these double SAM turrets, I didn't need to keep my tier 2 around. I'd be better served spending it on something else, such as a refinery. I'm going for a refinery, and I've almost broken the defenses of the Steel Talons player after that relentless push earlier on. Despite the odds, despite the economic disadvantage, despite the shadow team rush not working out in the early game, and so much more happening in this game. Not sure how much of the blue tip field I secured, but I think it was less than my opponent. And in the end, Kane will prevail. EMP, usually not so great against steel Talons because of the adaptive armor, but on this particular map, the Enlightened are decent against Mammoths anyways if you activate or build the Voice of Kane. Voice of Kane and Supercharged Particle Beams gives those Enlightened the DPS that Mox severely lacks usually to deal with heavy armor such as Mammoth tanks. Anyways, that was a really good game in my opinion on Badlands, the second game I wanted to showcase this week. And before I go, I'd like to thank my Patreon members for supporting me and my channel. I really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you for the continued support. You are all amazing. And before I go, I'd like to just say that if you like this video, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Anyways, this is it from me, Marsleaf, and I hope you all enjoyed this one. Peace out.